Arise News team covering the 9th edition of the Future Investment Initiative in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, are on a flight back to Nigeria, but sat down for a recap of the week that was. Here are correspondents Rotus Oddiri, Vimbai Mutinhiri-Ekpeyong and Georgina Ndukwe Ezeanyika. Let's have a look.
All right, this is, of course, the final day of the Future Investment Initiative here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Arise News, of course, has been covering all the activities from the start of the week, and we have come to the end. I'm joined by my awesome colleagues here. Please, ladies, everybody knows who you are. Introduce yourselves, please.
With a double barrel squad. Vimbai Mutinhiri-Ekpeyong. It's been such an eye-opening week. This experience has been life-changing in many ways, but we'll unpack that later.
And I am Georgina Ndukwe Ezeanyika. Yes, it's my first time in Saudi Arabia, and I thoroughly enjoyed the experience covering the Future Investment Initiative. Of course, we have so much to talk about what we have learned, what we encountered, what we saw in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Rotus, I'm sure you would like to...
Yes, indeed. Yeah, did I introduce myself? Rotus Oddiri. Yeah, so I think starting off with the opening ceremony, the Saudis know how to put on a show. Arise News, of course, we were there last year to see this again this year. My favorite part, of course, has to be the unitary humanoid robot that brought the key on stage. And of course, this is in line with the theme of the initiative this year, which is, the key, unlocking the key to prosperity, and of course, finding new avenues of economic growth sectors. So that it was nice to see the metaphor, if you will, right there on stage. So I did enjoy that from the opening ceremony.
And then the powerful music by a very young man. I think I heard Leo when they announced his name. We didn't get the full name, but the fact remains that his beautiful rendition of One Moment in Time just set the stage for the conversation and the opening ceremony on that day. It was really fantastic. I heard that you were even singing along. I'm just a sucker for a really well put together production. Everything moved well, it was cohesive, there was the immersion of technology, not just a robot, but even when you saw the way the stages moved around and the hydraulics of stages going up and down. And I think also just the opening speech, the charge, and the conversation around the fact that, here we are, the global leaders are here, and there's a lot of concern about, the decline of globalization, but this shows that globalization can't go anywhere. Everybody's still willing to work together. We just have to find out how best to work together to address all the major challenges of which the world, both global north, global south, agree that the biggest challenge is cost of living, according to the poll.
Hey, you've got youth uprisings in Nepal, Madagascar, Morocco. So cost of living, inflation, everything, very much on tap. And that was, I think we're now, bleed into the different panels that took place. I know you sat on one you attended, but we're going to be sitting on panels. I'm moderating very soon. Kagame, the head of state from Albania and so on. There was what was the takeaway from that?
Listen, the title was deeply philosophical because it's humanity moving in the right direction. So I was skeptical going into that panel because I just thought, these world leaders, if you don't give them a very concise topic, they can go in any direction. So you had President of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, President of Bolivia, President of Prime Minister of Albania, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Gianni Infantino, President of FIFA, who apparently is as good as President of the country. There were several takeaways, but what really stood out for me was the takeaway from the Prime Minister of Albania, Edi Rama, who talked about the fact that the rhetoric around war continues to get really heated. We're talking more and more about war. The conversation around peace is non-committal and it's fluffy. because what you see rapid militarization, more spend on defense than we've seen in history, as well as the fact that the word nuclear is just being thrown about in a very lackadaisical way. It's almost it was a word that was a huge taboo before, but now you hear more about nuclear tests. Of course, in the past couple of days, we've seen what's happening in Russia, we've seen what's happening in North Korea, and so forth. So the concerns, I think, for me, from the Prime Minister of Albania, were very real existential threats. That yes, we're talking about cost of living and making a living and surviving and economic prosperity and trickling down to the lowest level of society. But none of that is possible if there's warfare and if there's a consistent threat of global warfare or World War III or whatever it will be. So, in answering the question, is humanity moving in the right direction? I feel his responses were the most concise, and that they really spoke about the fact that we seem to be getting more and more war hungry and becoming more warmongering, and we can, in essence, eradicate ourselves as human species if we don't rein that in.
And still on that panel, there's something that struck me when Jill Infantino talked about football being a form of unifying force.
Right. With all the fighting going on.
That whenever there's a tournament, there's World Cup, you will see that even the crime rate reduces because everybody's watching. Yeah. And there's you would see people hugging each other, laughing, and people. So it really struck me that we could actually use football as a means of preaching peace, unity.
Right, a great roundup there from Rotus Oddiri, Vimbai Mutinhiri-Ekpeyong and Georgina Ndukwe Ezeanyika on a highly impactful week of pertinent discussions around Africa's investment and climate future in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Well, that's it on the Global Business Report for now, but stay tuned to Arise News. From all of us, many thanks for your company. I am Abby Owolabi.